Hello, beauty. Before I tell you about my experience at the concert of Jin of BTS in London last week and the fire it lit inside me, let me share some of the synchronicities and quiet blessings from this trip. Because the journey holds miracles as meaningful as the destination. It's 120 kilometers to get to the airport in Sibiu, from where my flight was taking off. To get there, it's a choice of compromises. Trains are slow and poorly maintained. Local buses are often the main choice, even what they offer does not justify the ticket price. Carpooling is the best option. It's faster, cheaper, but it's not always available. Taxis are way out of range for me due to principle, because the cost is like 4 times more than a normal bus ride. And then I found it. A foreign bus company just opening routes here. Clean seats with that faint new fabric scent. An app working with real-time notifications. And a ticket price so low, it was like the cost of a cheap ice cream. I booked without hesitation. As I was just about to exit the door and get to the bus stop, the app pinged. The bus was delayed. Enough to make catching my flight uncertain. My body was weak, fragile already. I had my second day of period. I was having this heavy bleeding. My head was aching with a dull throb from my gallbladder discomfort. Missing the plane meant missing Jin's concert. I literally had like 10 minutes window to catch a miracle. I opened the carpooling app, confident. This limit situation smelled like a new path I needed to embark on. I had that before. And there it was, a ride, leaving my hometown in 10 minutes. I booked instantly, the driver called me instantly, rare here in Romania, where people are not too prompt with communication. He was already on the move with no other passengers but me, who had booked last moment. But he said I sounded trustworthy, so he would wait for me. I tossed the last things in my bag, hugged my mom goodbye, jumped into a taxi, made it to the meeting point just in time. The driver's name was Mihai, Romanian, Michael in English. I smiled, recognizing yet again the subtle presence of Archangel Michael in this situation. Mihai was a quiet, self-confident, and handsome young man. A tiny yellow plastic duck with sunglasses, a cowboy hat, and a chain, a thick chain, silently greeted me from the dashboard as I entered the car. His car license plate read MIG, like MIG, which for Romanians is just an indicator for his super fast driving. Within the hour, we were already at the airport, where he kindly offered to drive me instead of the bus stop he had originally planned to drop me at. And that was the first miracle, the kind that warms you from the inside. It felt as if God had stepped in, smoothing the road and bringing the right people close, compensating for my physical weakness with care and speed. I felt grateful for this resonance. At the airport, I had a few hours to rest and to even work a little bit while I was preserving my energy. When I landed in London later that evening, my cousin was there waiting for me with a large, warm smile. She had offered me her room in the house where she lives and her bed for the duration of my stay. I could have booked an accommodation closer to the venue, like the O2 Arena, but something told me to accept her offer, not just to save some money, but to nurture our relationship. Sharing a bed is not easy for me. I need time to relax into someone's presence, but with her, it felt natural and warm. We had grown closer together in the recent years, and her warmth made the space feel safe. My cousin is in her 50s and wakes up every night at 2:30 a.m. to go to work. And then in the evening, she has evening school because she also goes to university. The 2 nights that I was there, she must have slept like max 2 hours, while she usually probably sleeps around 5 hours a night. And she still finds the energy to drive, chat, talk, be wise, have fun, laugh. I really admire her stamina. She picked me up from the airport when I arrived. She picked me up after the concert late in the night, and then she drove me back to the airport on my last day. For someone like me, who is used to doing everything alone, even when I'm unwell, this was such a soothing gift to simply be cared for, the kind you don't forget. On my way back, I worried about the timing again. If my flight was late, I'd miss my 1:40 a.m. night bus back home and be stuck in the airport. My flight arrived 40 minutes earlier. The bus was also early, and we even left half an hour ahead of schedule. Night travel has its benefits. No traffic, just the hum of the road, and an occasional blur of the passing lights. The taxi driver, though, taking me from the airport to the bus stop, insisted there was no buses at that hour. I'm a night driver. I know everything that moves during the night, he said. And to make it even more convincing, he added, Miss, you dare to be alone here in the dark? Who knows what could happen to you? For a few seconds, I was swinging between doubt and trust. My bus up reassured me, but still asked God for a sign. And then the taxi driver offered to take me all the way home to my city for 10 times the price of the bus. And suddenly everything became clear. I could see his game. Not malicious, just survival instinct. Competing with a cheap bus, I understand. And that was my choice, react or respond. I didn't need to shame him or challenge him. I simply said, give me a number. If the bus is not there on time, I'll call you. He was happy, I was happy. No judgment, no conflict. Just a quiet satisfaction of moving forward from a place of trust within myself. I arrived home the same way I left, carried by a chain of small miracles. And when I stood in the crowd at Jin's concert, feeling the fire of that moment, I knew the journey there had already been its own performance. Every act, every note, a reminder that I'm never walking alone. This night in London 2025 was the continuation of a journey that began with Taka from One Ok Rock in 2021. And I met Taka in London also in 2023. Before he led me to Japan in 2024. And here I am now with Jin, and I'm sure next year when the whole BTS will be together, I will be in London again for their 2026 BTS concert. The rest of this journey, the fire, the music, the quiet alchemy that both Taka and Jin set in motion within me, unfolds in my next video. If your heart longs to walk this life awake, come hear that part of the story.